Graphical user interface. The graphical interface of Cryptoland Scout is clean and compact. Everything is visible on one screen. There are 4 visual units: upper horizontal panel and 3 vertical panels, left, middle, and right. The following is an explanation for each part separately. Graphical user interface. In the upper horizontal panel, we have a menu button. Here we have a few items. License extension. Enter the license extension code here. Change password. Change the password to enter the program. Settings. Here you set how many processor threads we want to assign to the Cryptoland Scout. The more threads we assign, the more currency pairs the program can analyze. Also, there is a setting of which time frames we want the program to analyze. The smaller the number of selected time frames, the more pairs will be able to be analyzed. While this all seems simple, you can get into trouble if your internet connection is not fast enough, and then an error will occur. This error indicates that not all candles of currency pairs have been read and that there may be a skip in some results. In that case, I advise you to reduce the number of currency pairs that are analyzed, regardless of the higher power of your processor. Info. Cryptoland Scout version information, as well as information about your processor and registration ID number. Notification sound. If this option is checked, the program will sound a short beep sound with each new result, thus drawing your attention to the fact that there is a new result. Buy license. Buy a program subscription here. Help. Help regarding the program. Exit. Exit the program. In the section below the menu, the program options are related to currency pairs and their display on the screen. Pairs. Selection name for currency pairs. The number of selected pairs through the maximum number of pairs that can be processed. By clicking on the active field, you will see which pairs have been selected for analysis. Icon for selecting the list of selected pairs. There are several predefined lists with pairs here. If you want, you can save your own list using the following icon. Icon for saving the list of selected pairs. Search field for quickly finding a currency pair. For example, type a dot and you will see how the program will immediately mark that currency pair. In order to be able to explain the following items in the top panel, it is necessary to start the analysis of selected currency pairs. The analysis is started by clicking on the Run button located in the lower part of the right panel. When you click on the Run button, the icon for selecting predefined currency pairs and the icon for saving the selection of pairs will disappear from the screen, because after starting the analysis, it is not possible to make a change in the selected pairs. After clicking on the Run button, the program will analyze all selected pairs, starting from the largest time frame and going to the smallest. This process should not take more than 2 minutes, and the analysis time mostly depends on the speed of your internet connection, where unstable Wi-Fi networks should be avoided, the number of selected time frames and the number of threads in your processor, as well as the processor speed. As I was talking, you saw that the program completed the analysis and displayed the results in the central vertical panel, so we can go back to the explanation of the upper horizontal panel. The next thing we see are the buttons for displaying time frames. We have TF buttons available. TF buttons are used to turn on and off the display of results in time frames for 1, 3, 5, 15 and 30 minutes, as well as for larger time frames 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 hours, and for 1 day, 3 days and for 1 week. It is important to understand that this is just turning the time frames on and off. All time frames selected in the options and settings will always be analyzed and are always there regardless of whether they are displayed or not. You can turn each TF button on or off independently. You also have two buttons that turn the display of all time frames on and off, which are Select All button, to display all time frames, and Clear button, to hide all time frames. We will now explain the most important buttons for filtering results. The real power of the program is hidden in these buttons, because with their help we can very easily filter the analyzed results, and in that way we always have the latest situation and the possibility to enter the trade in time, which should end with a profit. So these buttons are, button L, display of pairs that had a price change defined by the filter in accordance with the rules of the L pattern. H, button, display of pairs that had a price change defined by the filter in accordance with the rules of the H pattern. Green button, display of pairs where the price grew in accordance with the defined filter. Red button, display of pairs where the price has dropped according to the defined filter. Light brown button, filter for the number of candles by segments for H pattern. Checking this button will only display H patterns that meet the minimum number of candles defined in this button. This is a fantastic tool because you can immediately throw out weak H patterns and focus only on the results where all the segments are over 4 or 5 candles, which increases the certainty that the result is a good choice to enter the store. Increasing the number in the segments actually amplifies the filter and reduces the number of results. This reduces the number of potential trades but increases the chances that the chosen trade will be profitable. Then comes the filters option, but I will explain it especially when I explain the right panel. At the very top right you see the license expiration option, which shows how long the program will run. Upon expiration of the license, the program stops working. You can see the termination date here, 21/12/12 at 14 hours and 14 minutes. In order to continue using the program, you need to renew the license with one of our packages. You can renew by clicking Menu, Buy License, and when the program takes you to the store just select the package that suits you. Now that we're done with the horizontal panel, we move on to the vertical panels. Left vertical panel. Here are all the currency pairs that the program processes. Currency pairs are withdrawn from the Binance crypto exchange and are only pairs where the relationship is to the USDT, Tether. There is one currency pair in each line. The total number of pairs shown depends on which pairs are listed and which are closed by the Binance exchange office. At the moment we are working on this video, you can see that you have over 300 currency pairs at your disposal, but I note that this number is not constant, but changes. In any case, Binance offers you a very large number of pairs to trade and has a good volume for most of those pairs. So let's start with an explanation of the panel items. If there is a red or green vertical bar in front of the name of the pair, it is BLT, Binance Leverage Tokens. A red dash means that these are down tokens that are actually bear, and a green dash means that they are up tokens that are bull. These are tokens that mimic like you are using leverage but not actually using it. Although it seems tempting because you can't be liquidated, as there is a possibility if you would use the margin, they are actually very complicated, and my advice is not to use them until you are really familiar with the mechanism of how they work. Fear not. There are just enough currency pairs without these just mentioned. So, after the optional vertical bars, it is the turn of what each currency pair has, which is pair name, for example BTC/USDT. Filter. Setting a previously defined filter with search criteria that will activate a currency pair with a certain price change in a certain time interval. The filter is changed by selecting a currency pair or more and clicking on the drop-down menu all the way down in the left panel and selecting the desired filter. The setting of the filter and its values will be explained when processing the right panel. Active. If you check the box in the Active column, The program will analyze that pair in further work. Multiple link selection of currency pairs is done using the Shift key, and multiple selection for pairs that are not directly below each other is done using the Control key. But then you activate the currency pair by clicking on the box at the bottom right in the left panel. There are two fields at the end of each line. One is B and the other is TV. Field B opens that currency pair on the Binance exchange in your default browser. It is important to note that Cryptoland Scout does not ask for any information from your Binance account and has no insight into your trading. It is just an app that helps you make good decisions. The TV field opens that currency pair in Tradingview in your default browser. Although I have said that many times so far, I have to mention it once again. Cryptoland Scout works directly with Binance pairs and prices, and it is therefore essential that you have an open account on Binance in order to be able to take full advantage of this program. Although not part of the program, Tradingview is a tool that Cryptoland relies heavily on and uses to visually display candles. Although you can use Tradingview without opening an account there, I would still advise you to open a free account, because then you don't have to set parameters such as time, Heiken Ashi candle type, color theme graphics, or your favorite indicators. At the very bottom of the left vertical panel you will see a drop-down menu with which you can choose which filter you want to use when analyzing currency pairs. Active button. Use this button to turn on or off currency pairs that you have already selected using the Shift or Control key. Middle vertical panel. The middle panel is the most important because you will see the results of the program here. The first thing you will see is a green or red vertical line that indicates whether that currency pair is rising or falling. Then comes the name of the currency pair. TF is a label that indicates on which time frame the result was obtained. % is a mark that shows what the percentage price change is. Red indicates a decline and green an increase in the amount of the entered percentage. Start shows the date and time when the currency pair started creating the L or H pattern. The end shows the date and time when the currency pair finished creating the L or H pattern. Then we have type of pattern. Type can be L pattern or H pattern. A, B, C are segments L and H of the template. L has only a segment and H has all three segments. The numbers in columns A, B, C indicate how many candles there are in each segment. A green color within the segments indicates that these candles were present when the price increased, and a red color indicates that these candles were created when the price decreased. The RSI column is intended to show the relative strength index, but in the last analyzed candle. If it is a L pattern, then RSI will refer to the last candle in the A column, and if it is a H pattern, then the RSI result will refer to the last candle in the C column. RSI can have values from 0 to 100. When the values are less than 30, then it is convenient to buy. When the value is greater than 70, then it is favorable for sale. If the RSI value is between 30 and 70, then we call them neutral, and then we cannot make a decision to buy or sell based on this indicator. This is a great tool for confirming entry into the store. More about how to trade will be in a special video. At the very bottom of the middle vertical panel is a checkbox. Add new results on top. When this box is checked, all new results will be printed at the top of the middle panel. When new results appear, you may hear a small beep if you have activated the sound notification. You can turn on or off sound notification in the menu under Notification Sound. It is important to know what you are looking for from the results. When you know what you are looking for, then use the buttons from the top panel to filter them. Good filtration is the key to easily finding a currency pair suitable for trading. Right vertical panel. There are 3 units in the right vertical panel. The upper one is reserved for filters. Clicking on the arrow opens a section where we see which filters currently exist and their names. Filters define the value of the percentage change in price for each time frame separately. If the price changes by a defined percentage, it will appear as a result in the middle panel. Change can be both a fall and a rise in prices. If we want, we can also make our own filter with values that we choose ourselves. This is done in one of 2 ways: by clicking on the plus icon or by clicking on the double dot icon. By clicking on plus, we create a new filter from scratch by first giving it a name and then entering the values in the table for each time frame separately. At the beginning, predefined values are entered, which of course you can change. The first column is the time frame, 1, 3, 5 minutes, etc., on which we want to place the trigger to show the price change. In the column marked with %, you enter how much change needs to happen in that time frame in order for it to be recognized and entered as a result in the middle panel during the analysis. The column labeled ratio represents the maximum allowable return percentage relative to the leg. The number 0.7 is entered at the beginning, which in fact represents the final limit for recognizing HX patterns, i.e. 70% of the value of the column %. If the price movement is higher than that 70%, then it means that this movement will not be recognized as an H template and will become a kind of V template that the program does not recognize as an opportunity to trade. Of course, you can also change the value of the column ratio. To make it clearer, here is an example. If the price at the start of the analysis was $100 and dropped to $90, that's a 10% drop. And we set the ratio to 0.7, which means 70% if the price returns to $97 or exceeds $97. This case won't be taken as the H pattern. By clicking on the double dot, we make a copy of the filter that we previously selected. Further work is the same as when we make the filter ourselves, which has already been described. If we no longer need a filter, we can delete it by clicking on the filter and then on the bucket icon, and then on the OK button. At the bottom, below the filter definition panel, there is a panel, Pair Results. Here, practically everything is the same as in the middle panel, but the results are shown only for the selected currency pair, but for all time frames, even for those time frames that are not selected in the main panel. The Run button is all the way down. By pressing the Run button, the program begins to analyze currency pairs according to all given parameters. After clicking on Run, that button turns into a Stop button. It is very important to remember that when you press the Stop button, you interrupt the sequence with the information that the program received from the Binance Exchange office and that this sequence cannot be continued. Then, after clicking the Stop button, it turns into a Rerun button, which means that the program will be closed and automatically reopened. You can then make different selections of currency pairs or change the parameters of the filters, but you have lost all the analyses that were current before pressing the Stop button. That would be all about the Cryptoland Scout graphical interface. Happy trading, and may Scout be with you.